And so I decided I would try to ask people and try to get a list of their top 10 patents and then top 10 technologies, and then I could compare them across multiple interviews to find ones that overlapped, and chances are would be that those are the important ones. The problem is that although everybody was interested in this question and wanted to know about the results when I got them, no one really could answer the question. First of all, they explained that although patents with a wider scope are always better, mostly patents are valued based on who owns them, what products that company makes, and who they're competitors with. The second thing they said, and this I think is important for the idea of the communication paradigm, is that it's actually better for them not to know about other people's patents. So a lot of companies purposefully do not read patents in their own industry. And the reason is that even though ignorance is not a defense against infringement, if you don't know about a patent and you infringe it, you're still liable. This is very different from copyright. In copyright, if you've never seen the book and somehow you write the exact same book, you know, the monkeys who are writing forever randomly, if they write the exact same book, it's not copyright infringement. It's only copyright infringement if you copied it. Patents are different. So even though ignorance isn't a defense against infringement, it is a defense against the 3 times the damages part of willful infringement. So a lot of companies purposefully don't look at patents. And in this way, a system that's meant to create a storehouse of technical knowledge also creates a reason not to make use of it. It's meant to communicate what has been invented and who owns what. But in industry, at least, it's best not to listen. So the second reason that the communication paradigm really starts to break down is because of the sheer number of patents. There's now about 7,670,000 US patents. And of those, about 2,760,000 are still active. So that 2.7 million number is the number of patents you could be infringing right now. So for most companies, it's really not worth it to look through patents. They don't have the time to look through, I mean, you wouldn't have to look through 2.7 million because you can narrow it down with keyword searching. But the sheer number really makes it hard to find patents. And adding into that the fact that some companies purposefully try to hide their patents in order to surprise competitors if they actually want to find them infringing. It means that even though patents are claims to ownership, they're not claims that are made to the actual competitors, the actual audience to the claim. They're made to the government, to the PTO. Yet the companies are actually the people who the final audience, or who are actually supposed to be excluded from the rights, are. So this is very different from tangible property. So if I take your property, this can be seen as a form of communication, because the fact that it's missing, at the very least, provokes a response from you, or a counterclaim, saying, no, that's mine. If I take your cup, you say, no, that's my cup. This is a claim and a counterclaim. If I use your patented technology, though, you won't find anything missing. Nothing will be different. There's nothing about the technology itself that suggests that it's already owned, nor anything that would tell you that it's been stolen. Stolen in quotation marks. And there's no way, for instance, to put a no trespassing sign on a piece of technology, so that when anybody ever comes up with this new idea or this invention, they see, oh, it's not new after all. So this is knowledge indeed that's been claimed. And it also excludes, so it's a kind of property. It's a property that can be violated, but not only is it best for the violator not to know that they violated it, there's also no automatic way for the owner to know it's gone. In these key senses, then, the intangible aspect of the patent, meaning that object part of the 3-part diagram, means that seeing it solely as communication just doesn't work. Patents are more a form of open secret or public secret. They're closely related to business secrets, but they hide in the open. They both reveal and they hold back. They're open descriptions of knowledge, but are hidden both in the sheer number of patents and at least somewhat in the ways that they're broadly written. So this brings me to the last section. How long did I have? 8 minutes left. Okay. All right, I'm going to cut a lot of the last. So the last section of the paper explores how patents are a sort of open secret, and they're related to other kinds of knowledge in a company, and in the context of competition with other companies. So I'm drawing here on Zimmel's description of the role of secrets in establishing and maintaining social hierarchies. So the main thing that he talks about is that the content of the secret is, in some cases, not that important. What's important is the fact that there is a secret. It's the form of the secret that's important. So here I want to look at how patents and access to other kinds of knowledge have a role in structuring hierarchies within the companies and industries, as well as playing key roles in determining the value of knowledge in a corporate setting. I hope eventually to be able to go more into this area as I do more participant observation, because that's one of the main places the data for this is going to come from, actually talking to employees. But for now I'm presenting some early thoughts. And I will also I'm going to start with an example from my entering the field that I think speaks to the importance of the form of the secret. So this first example involves the first time I entered for an interview. I entered Taiti Dian in Hsinchu. So Taiti Dian in Hsinchu it's a big building, a big, large concrete building. And it doesn't look very fancy from the outside. It's actually set up on a hill, so you can't see much more than the block shape of the building. Inside, however, is a 3 or 4 story lobby. It's a huge tiaogao lobby. And on the side are floor-to-ceiling windows. And over in the corners, running all the way along the side, is about a 2-step raised platform with tables and chairs. And the inside walkway, you walk all the way back, and it's maybe 50 meters all the way back to the actual desk, the actual guitai, the reception desk. So for me to get in, I have to leave my ID, which is normal in Taiwan. I also had to leave my digital recorder, which I hoped to use to record the interview. I had to leave my USB drive that I happened to have in my pocket. My computer was taken and they wrote down the serial number. And the USB and internet ports were covered up with this special tape that if I tampered with, they could see that there's no way to re-tape it up. So when I came back out, they inspected the computer to see if I had opened it up. Now all of this is clearly security measures, and the idea is that there's no way, because all of these things are taken away, there's no way for me to go in, and absent from memorizing things, for me to take out a copy of something. So clearly, I realized later on that the tables and chairs in the lobby, and part of the reason that the lobby is so nice, is because a lot of clients never go into the employee section of Taiti Dian, or most of the other companies in Hsinchu Science Park. They have their meetings in the lobby, because then they don't have to go through all the security protocols. It's much more convenient. So similarly, once I finally found a company that would be willing to work with me for the participant observation part, which was quite difficult. And I had another example, but I'm going to skip it. When I finally found them, one of the things I had to go through was signing a non-disclosure agreement. And this is a very standard process. All employees who work in science park companies have to sign an agreement that says they won't disclose secrets, trade secrets. So I think in both of these cases, it's not necessarily the content of the secret that's important. It's more the form. It's more the fact that there is a secret, or the fact that there is security about it, that helps to structure your relationship immediately as going in. And it, in effect, is enforcing a hierarchy. Okay. So I have another section here that's looking at knowledge and different kinds of knowledge. And when I first started talking to employees about this, I used the word 知识, or knowledge, or 知识经济, as knowledge economy. And I found out that's actually problematic, because I would use knowledge, and that would encompass experience and skills and knowledge in an academic sense. All three of those, I would say, could be covered by knowledge. But when I've talked to people who, especially people who work on the factory floor, about knowledge, they say, "Oh, that has nothing to do with me. That's something that academics do. You should go back to academia and talk to them." So I've had to start talking about jingyan instead, about experience or about skills. And there's a lot of interesting stories about the different kinds of skills that are important in a factory. So for instance, manufacturing knowledge is based on an entire process, making the entire process sync together right. R&D knowledge, on the other hand, is about perfecting one particular piece of that puzzle. Okay, so then although patents are often talked about in terms of innovation, or as a kind of knowledge, they're primarily used in terms of competition, for securing profit, or for startups, at least securing venture capital. So this is quite different from how